welcome back to the Be All Inclusive podcast. My name is Laurie Berkeley. I'm your host for today, and I am joined by two of the coolest people in the travel industry. First, we have James Berkeley, who is the owner of Be All Inclusive, and who is also my husband. And then we have Taylor Martz, who is the owner of Vibe Thrive Travel. We have a super fun episode planned for you guys today, so please stay tuned as we talk all things destination weddings. You want to chat a little bit about our podcast last month?
Oh, man.
What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I think we learned a lot, guys.
We didn't watch it.
Yeah. So, did you watch the whole thing?
I watched the whole thing.
How was it?
Yeah.
Like, the information was good. I think our ability to do this in a real live place is completely different than doing it online and recording the Zoom call. So I thought it was overall pretty bad, our
Nice.
performance.
How'd I look?
You look good, though.
Okay, thank you.
But lighting looked good. Like, now that we're doing a real one where it's actual in person and whatnot, it's just changing a lot. So good news is we learned a lot, and we're going to make the next ones a lot better.
Perfect.
I hadn't done the Zoom calls with you guys.
Yeah.
So the in-person one last month was my first. So that's all I have to go by, but
It was just way easier because, you just literally looked at your screen and we're just having normal conversations to the point that you almost forgot that we were doing it. But this, because you have all this going on around us, you're like, oh, God.
Yeah. It was
I'm in
wait,
danger.
do I have to look at the camera and speak directly to the camera all awkwardly? It was that all the time. And that was going through all of our heads, and I think that made all of us nervous. But we're good.
We're fine
We're good
now.
now. This one, from here out, we're going to get better.
we got it. We got it.
I love it.
All right, so we're going to play this or that. Just as a little icebreaker, have some fun.
Love it.
I love this or that. Okay. Beach wedding or garden wedding?
Ooh, that's hard. Because I'm a rooftop wedding. So.
Yeah, right?
For the ceremony,
Yeah.
you have to be specific.
Yes.
I don't like the toes in the sand thing. I know that sounds crazy, so I'm going to go garden.
I say it depends on how I want my hair.
Oh.
If my hair is going to be up and kind of shellacked down, then maybe beach.
Okay.
If I want it kind of long and flowy, I might say garden just so then it's not blowing all over the place from being on the beach. So the hair is going to dictate that answer.
I mean, just like every answer I give every single bride, the answer is it depends. What beach?
What beach? What's the garden look like? Yeah.
Right? You give me a Hotel Escarret garden, quote unquote. Yeah, I want that. You give me Secrets Aquamal garden. You give me, some of those. Now you give me Hermitage Bay Beach.
I'm going beach.
I'm going beach at Hermitage Bay. Secrets Aquamal, even though it's a gorgeous beach, I'm not going beach there because where you have to have your ceremony, there's literally chairs right here and chairs right here, and people are out there on the beach because it's a public beach, and so I don't want everybody watching me. I don't want to have to walk by the pool to get, you know what I mean? And everybody's like, oh, look, a wedding's going on.
80% of my brides mention that if they want a beach wedding, they're like, I want privacy.
Yeah. So
because if I'm a guest and I walk by and I see a wedding, I might stop for a minute and be like,
oh my gosh, Will did that when we were at Dreams Tulum. He wasn't going to be where they'd see him, but even him getting this close, I was like, get over here. Yeah. I was like, stay away.
I'm like, oh, I want to see your dress.
Yes.
I want to see your dress.
Oh, and theirs was on the beach. Absolutely beautiful. It was on the more private side of Dreams Tulum. A man in a Speedo purposely walked by. The groomsmen were all laughing. They were the fact that it was with this couple who was the coolest couple. So they you don't care. But if you're somebody that cares, I was just this guy's doing this on purpose right now. He didn't care.
Did I tell you guys, and maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but I'm going to.
No, you shouldn't. I know what it is.
I think I know what you're about to say, too.
It's one of my favorite stories in all the weddings that I've done. One of my first weddings in Jamaica, where I was a photographer and the agent. So I was photographing the wedding. And if you've ever been to Jamaica, the pushers of
oh God, it's bad.
Everything under the sun on the beach are very bad in some areas. But remember, all beaches, pretty much in every destination, they're all public, so they can come on anywhere. So these guys will literally stand 20 feet apart from each other, and that's their territory of the beach. And
Right.
they will just shout to everybody walking out, hey, come here. I've got something to sell you.
It's so bad.
Well, they have, souvenirs to sell you. They also have other things to sell you. So when you're traveling as a single guy walking out there, like, I'm a prime target for them. But we're shooting the wedding, and they make sure they're not out there by the beach when they're shooting the wedding. But literally during the ceremony, all of a sudden, we see all these guys that are in their territory on the beach, all these guys just running
Oh my God.
the other direction. They're just booking it, hightail. The cops came and were doing a little bust on the drug selling going on the beach.
Please tell me you got pictures of that.
During the ceremony. I actually think I do. I'll have to find it. Maybe we can include it in this. I have to find it. It was a long time ago, so I'd have to look for the photos. But I did. I think I did have literally photos of these Jamaican guys hightailing it.
You're like putting the rings on saying I
Right.
do, and like
It was-
police and like drug dealers in the
It was
background.
pretty much like that. Everybody was like, what in the world? Like, so, it's just... It was a beautiful scene, and it was private. But again, those beaches are public, so anybody can be on those beaches as long as they can get to those beaches. A lot of times with the resorts, they can't get to the beaches because they can't get onto the resort.
The Riviera Maya area, right? Like all of that area is just like if you're out on the main road, it looks like it's just like trees everywhere, right? Like you don't even know what's back there. Are there even any public accesses around there?
Not a lot.
So
there
that's
really
where
aren't.
I tell people, I'm like, those areas you're going to be safe in terms of there's not a public beach. I know Playa Harris, I don't think that's a private area.
Well, yeah, it's a private area. It's all gated community just to get up there.
But then the people there
Right.
can use the beaches.
Right.
So it just
Right.
depends on the area.
Right.
Okay, this one will be an easy one. This is like a either or. Well, this or that should have been an either or.
You're like, this should be that, but these two might bring it in a whole nother direction.
I don't think that there's going to be a lot of conversation about this one. Okay. Signature drink for the reception. Margarita? Pina colada.
Margarita.
Margarita?
Hands down.
Well, I am a rum guy.
I knew you'd say,
and,
but-
I cannot stand anything else pretty much.
This is hard for me. Me personally, I would want a margarita, but I think that my guests might enjoy a pina colada more.
Depends
So
on your group. I know I'm in a big tequila group.
I feel like we're more of a rum
I'm going
group.
to take it a little further and go, I want a painkiller, which if you order a painkiller, down in Florida, it's a little bit easier down here because, we've got the tropical vibes and the beachy lifestyle and all that, right? But in Maryland,
Are they like,
I order
what's
a
that?
painkiller and they're like, ha ha ha.
Yeah,
I'm
they
like,
think
no, I'm not joking. That's
they
a
think
drink.
like you want like pills.
Like you're asking.
Yeah.
They think I'm asking for pills. And I'm like,
We're like, no, it's a drink. You have to like Google it for them and be like, it
And show
contains
them.
this, and
They're like, oh,
Right.
Oh,
okay, you're
that.
not crazy. That makes sense though, why they wouldn't know that.
yeah, I guess, whatever. It's annoying
Painkillers
though
are
because
so
but they're made,
strong, though.
They've
Like,
got cream
I'm-
of coconut and like they're so much better.
I know, but I'm not trying to like get my guests like immediately. Like at least like get through some of the reception
Yes.
before you're falling down.
We need to talk about this one day, is preparing your guests for the day of the wedding. This will be a conversation for another day, to not get smashed before coming to my wedding.
Is it a conversation for another day? Because I got another story.
Oh my, let's finish this or that.
If we look in the outline, we actually might come back to that.
Okay, we'll come
okay,
back.
we're
We'll
good.
come back.
We'll circle back.
Okay. Steel drum band or mariachi band for cocktail music?
Depends on location. Are we in Mexico? Are we in Jamaica?
I think steel
Are we
drum.
in, are
Me
we
too.
in Antigua? Are we in St.
Mariachi's
Lucia?
super fun.
Right.
Obviously great for Mexico. But I don't know. I like the sound of a steel drum. It just makes me think of, just tropical period. It has like that can like all
Can
encompassing.
go for any of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going with that too.
Oh my God, we all agree?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, last one. Traditional wedding cake or a dessert bar?
Oh, dessert bar. Hands down. I'm all about not even doing a cake, so.
I have to go with traditional wedding cake because I'm very, very, very into the when you feed each other, like the cake smash.
Okay,
like
but
I love
see,
the cutting
no.
the cake, and I love the cake smash.
No.
So when I was a little girl, I was like, when I get married, I'm gonna smash it in my husband's face. And then so I told him like prepare himself. I was like, we're doing this.
This is
like
what's
we're
happening.
going
Yeah.
all out. And so it was like we were like prize fighters. Like we like had our cake and we're like dancing
Oh,
around.
which one's gonna
What
get?
I didn't realize is that his arm is so much longer than mine.
Oh no.
And like and I tried so hard to get you, and I had it like in my eyelashes. No regrets. No regrets. They made some great pictures, but still, I feel like that's important to me. Is like, and if we ever like renewed our vows, we're smashing again. And
But
I feel
like, do you
just,
get the first smash this time, and like
yeah, maybe
he has
I
to
have
keep his
like
hands
a
down?
3-second like head start.
Yeah.
Boom.
But you could smash even with a dessert bar.
I know, but I like
you
the
can smash,
actual cutting of the cake.
Just like the traditional part of it.
Yeah.
I respect that. I am like we are not gonna have a cake at our wedding. I mean, I actually don't even know what food we're having, but that's another conversation. I'm not about that. I would kill somebody if they smash my makeup.
I feel like you're in the majority. I feel like most
Yes.
brides don't want to be smashed.
I think so too. I also don't
I
like.
didn't mean it like that.
No, I didn't think that.
Pretty sure Brad's want to be smashed.
This took a turn. What does they say? Like clap when you want to like edit it out. Like
No, don't edit that out. Yeah, I don't even like pausing for people to do the cake cutting. I'm like, let's just keep the party going.
That is
you know?
true.
That's
That is
my
true.
thing.
Timing is
That's my
everything
thing.
with that.
It
And
does break
because
things
when we
down
do
a
a
little bit.
dessert bar, you generally eliminate all the traditional
Yes.
we're gonna cut all that, and it's like, hey, it's opening. Now the awkwardness, okay, having been to a ton of weddings, the awkwardness is who opens up the dessert bar first? Who decides to go up there and says, I can take something?
Yeah, there's nobody wants to be the first, but I
Nobody-
will be
the first. Yes, me
No,
too.
You put
no,
some sweets
nobody
out,
will be the first.
get out of my
Nobody
way.
is going to be the first because everybody will just be like, oh no, wait for the bride
It
and
needs
groom.
to kind of
They're
like
gonna cut
already
it.
be
But-
cut and maybe put on like little napkins or plates or something
Yeah.
so people
Yeah.
can just go up and grab real quick.
Well, dessert bar,
Oh,
you've got like churros.
True,
you know,
because
like,
you're waiting to see what's gonna happen. Like you don't know if you're supposed to, but
Yes.
a good MC will be like, all
Say.
right, now that I think depends on the situation. Like if I'm doing a buffet, then I want it to be what like that also means grab your dessert
Right.
type of thing. You know what I mean? So
This is why you need a DJ
Yeah.
because it's not just a DJ; it's an MC that tells people. People need to be told
People-
what to
yeah,
do at
people
weddings.
need instruction.
And
yes.
like one of those key aspects from planning, the timeline and whatnot is okay. Well, where are your locations? Okay, how long is it going to take your guest to get from the cocktail hour to the reception? Because that's a long time. It's not something you
Right.
think about. It's like, oh, cocktail hour starts, ends at 6. Well, reception starts at 6. No, not really.
No.
At least 20 minutes to get all those people from location A to location B seated, ready
Right.
to go, and whatnot. Because
that's why I'm doing it in the same spot.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're not moving around that
but
much.
even
Yeah,
if
that's
it's in
smart.
the same spot, getting people to
sit down.
sit down and to end their conversations, and you know what I mean. It takes time.
Moving a group of people
So
is so
hard.
time consuming.
Oh my gosh. And I actually just went to a wedding and it was literally amazing, but they did not have an MC. And so I think they had a live band that was so good, but I genuinely think their goal was not they wanted people to just party.
Yeah.
So they actually didn't stop. They had the dances, but like nobody knew it was happening. And so I think for them, they just wanted that more like, we're not going to have anybody stop and watch us do anything. Like, eat when you're ready. Like, all of a sudden, I was like, oh, we can grab food. Like,
Yeah.
But I would have wanted the structure, but I see what they were trying to do. But we also had amazing music the whole time. You know what I mean? From
Yeah.
a
I'm
live
always
band.
so torn because there's people want structure and the events need structure.
They do.
But I've been to weddings where instead of doing a plated dinner,
Yeah.
they did heavy hors d'oeuvres.
Oh.
And meaning heavy hors d'oeuvres, meaning like things that are more substantial that will fill you up, right?
Like sliders and things like
yeah,
that.
like those type, right? And they went longer with those hors d'oeuvres,
Right.
And our idea behind it is, oh, well, I want everybody to, just mingle and talk and party and not worry about, I get the idea and where they were going with it, but in reality, it was like nobody really had a clue what was
Right.
going on, and it was like, all right, where do I sit? They had tables.
Yes.
And then it's like, so you had like a group of 4 sit at a table of 8, and nobody else sit there because they're like, well, are these their seats? It was this awkward weirdness. Like
100%.
nobody knew where to sit. Nobody.
Seat numbers. That was the other thing. They didn't have that. And I was like, you
People
need to
expect
tell
that.
me where
yeah,
to sit.
people
Like,
expect that. So
yes.
then everyone's just kind of milling around like, what do I do, where I go?
Right. And then all of a sudden you might just think, oh, well, it's cocktail hour. I'm just going to like enjoy myself. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, I was supposed to find a seat? Like, I didn't even know I was supposed to do
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
I agree. You need structure like 100%.
Yeah.
So Taylor, James and I met in, I want to say like maybe 2018.
It was.
Because you got married in 2019. So we worked with you for about a year, maybe longer,
Yes.
while you were planning your destination wedding. And we just fell in love with you because you were just so easy to work with. You were so fun. You were so friendly. And then you got married in 2019 and we didn't talk to you anymore. You weren't in our inbox. You weren't calling us. So I don't know how many times we were like, I miss Taylor. Taylor.
It took 2020 to happen.
2020 happened. Everything blew up, fell apart. And then over the summer, we're rebuilding the business and everything. And by that point, just a few months prior, we had decided to go out on our own, have our own agency, and then have agents work with us. And I don't know what happened, but just like one day out of the blue, I was like, Taylor Martz would make a good agent, don't you think? And James was like, yes, she would. I was like, let's just call her. Let's just call her. So we had a call, and we threw all these ideas at you, and then you were like, yeah, let's do it. I want to be an agent. So my first question to you is, why did you say yes? What made you want to join the travel industry?
I think that I know a lot of people are in this because they're passionate about travel. And yes, who doesn't love travel, right? Like, I'm pretty sure everybody's like, I'm passionate about travel. Like, okay. But for me, it was being passionate about the destination wedding and like the process. And I think ultimately it was like the friendship that I built with you guys and like seeing the way that you guys like changed my life through that process, and I would have been completely lost. I was like, I want to be able to do that for people.
Yeah.
So I think that was the first part. And after I had gone to a friend's destination wedding like a few years prior, and while I was there, it was in Puerto Vallarta, and I was like, this is what I'm doing. I'm just always been like not about the traditional stuff. Like I stick with like the dances that you do, but I've always just been like, I cannot imagine spending thousands of dollars on one day.
6
hours. I would lose my mind. And my friends probably hate me because like when they're talking about their wedding, I'm just like, wow, so you're really spending all that for 6 hours. You're stressed about that for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Like think about Christmas. Like, you know, when you were like you would be so excited about it and then it was here and like it's gone just like that. So I would say that was the biggest part for me. And then just being like partnered with you guys and like just seeing the way you guys believed in me was like, you know, was pretty exciting. So I think that conversation was
that might have actually been 2021.
It was the conversation.
Yeah.
Yes. 2020. I meant was the time I had reached out to you guys. I remember because I was checking in on you guys.
You were like one of very few people, like friends and family included in this, who like reached out to us to be like, how are you doing? How's the business? What's going on with you guys? And you don't know how much that meant to us because we like our whole livelihood fell apart like in the matter of days.
Imagine.
And we felt really isolated and alone. And then, you know, we hadn't talked to you in a couple months because you had just gotten married just in the nick of time, actually, before 2020.
Yeah, and then my relationship bursted about a week before COVID happened. So it was really cool. Go ahead, anyways.
Crazy timing. But then, you reached out, even in the midst of all of your personal, craziness. You still reached out to check on us. And I was just like, she is good people. You know? I know she is good people. So I was kidding. And then, so I guess then we approached you and...
So everything I'm going through right now, which at the time was like pure hell, I was like, it was all for something. And I just felt that it was like, it sounds so stupid, but it was like my calling from God to be like, you literally had a destination wedding to the wrong person to meet these people and to now have a whole new career. And I trusted you guys.
That's not stupid.
Okay, thanks. I trusted you guys, and through that process, I now own my own business. I work for 2 amazing humans. I work for myself.
Yes.
I like work for you guys, but like I work for myself, you know?
Right.
Right. Even though I'm actually the 3rd owner of Beyond Inclusive. But anyway.
Third silent, not silent partner.
We forgot that part. We forgot that when we were introducing you.
The non-silent partner.
Yes.
There is nothing silent about Taylor Martz.
Far from silent. I met the most amazing man in my life through this process.
Thank you.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
Okay, that was funny. Will. And now I'm about to have another destination wedding. And I have to say, like, the last year and a half, like, the relationships I've built with my brides is, like, obviously I know the relationship I built with you guys. I'm like, you guys are my friends now and you're stuck with me. Like, I love them so much. And as you know, I love them sometimes too much because I get very attached. But I'd rather have that than work a job that I, like, don't care about the person on the other side. So
how did you come up with your name? Vibe, Thrive.
Okay.
Which I have a hard time saying. My
Me too.
semi-dyslexic brain wants to say Vibe, Thrive or Vibe, Thrive.
Can I tell you how annoying it is when I call to different countries and have to say what my email is? I'm like, but can I just email you and can you get it? And some of them will be like, yeah. And others will be like, okay, go ahead. And I'm like, no, but you don't understand. The V sounds like a B, okay. And I'm having to tell you like each one. And it's so, okay, in 2019, when life was so much fun and all I did was go on girls' trips in 2019, I can tell you that. And one of my girlfriends, she would always just be like vibing and thriving. Like every trip we'd go on, it was like vibe, thrive. Like we're vibing and we're thriving. Aww. And thrive was like a big one. And it just like kind of like fits me, I feel like.
And it has a personal connection because it makes you probably think of like 2019 and being with your girls.
Yes, it was so fun.
You have done a really good job in creating your own personal brand.
Tell your story.
Far.
Go ahead, James.
Let's
hear this.
So that I was recently
I laughed so hard.
On a trip to the grand we got invited to the grand opening of Hyatt Zilara Riviera. You know, we're down there with a bunch of agency owners and whatnot, all these, you know, VIPs at this grand opening of this new hotel. And then somebody comes up to me and says, I think I know you. You're James, right? You're James with Vibe Thrive Travel? And I said, no. Vibe Thrive travels with us.
Or I was laughing so hard.
You're doing a great job at making a brand for yourself.
Thank you. Yes. But as you guys know, like I'm the person that's always like, if anything of mine does say be all inclusive, I'm like, I don't care because like I always want to be attached to that name. You know what I mean? So even there are times where some of my brides still say like, you know, if they're emailing the wedding coordinator or something, they'll say like Taylor is with Be All Inclusive. Right. Like my email says like BTT affiliated with Be All Inclusive.
Yeah, but you're doing the same thing, and we're proud to be associated with Vibe Thrive Travel. And I mean, you know, there are some resorts that already these resorts that you've been working with. You haven't been in the industry that long, but already these resorts you're working with know you and know how much business you send their way, and you know, so it's.
You're gonna outsell us very, very shortly.
No, I'm
yes,
not.
I believe that. Don't you? 100%.
Stop it.
I will.
I cannot do it without you guys. That's the other side of it. So
well, we are happy to have you.
Thank you.
I have to say, I guess that was another good idea I had.
I'm
the ideas guy.
Yes.
Like I'm not always like front and center with like the business the way you are, and I don't sell, but
you're front and center today, Laura.
Yeah, you are.
But I'm the ideas guy.
I feel so lucky to be able to do what I do every day for work, and I did as a photographer and then as a travel agent as well, and now as the agency owner and helping you guys build your careers and whatnot. And it's just like
it's a really good segue into the next question.
Fantastic. I'm so glad I was able to provide you with a great segue. I don't even know what the next section is.
I just opened the door. I'm going to walk through.
We came up with this outline like a week ago, and we've had 85 changes since, so I have no clue.
Now, you shot local weddings for, 12, 15 years, something like that, and then you started shooting destination weddings, and then you started becoming a travel agent and all that sort of stuff. So you have the most experience to answer this question, which is, what's your advice for choosing a photographer for your wedding? What's just the do's and don'ts?
Even though all of our suppliers are going to hate me for saying this, I'm not a fan of the resort photographers.
Yeah, but they know that you think that.
And they do. Like they do.
Surprise.
But like the resorts, like the way the resorts work, they want you to use their photographers because guess what? They have a deal with them.
Right.
So they're that's
it's like they're vendors in general.
Right.
No, explain why you don't like the resort photographers.
I don't like them because a lot of times these are big, huge companies. You know, these are big, huge companies that they're operating on a studio mentality as opposed to a photographer's mentality. So, you know, I got into photography because I loved creating. I loved doing it, and it was something personal, a personal passion for me. There's a lot of photographers that work for these big, huge companies. They may be a waiter in the morning, and then they're a photographer in the evening.
So they don't really have any actual skills?
I don't want to say that because you can absolutely get you can get a great photographer from some of these places. But the problem is you just don't know who you're getting. They operate it like a business. It's like you're another number. Okay, there's a wedding on this date. I need somebody to cover it. I'm going to assign you to it. As opposed to the other way around. When you hire an individual photographer, you're hiring somebody who you've actually looked at their portfolio. You know exactly what their style is. And photography, for me, is a more personal preference than it is for others. And not everybody operates that way. There are some people that operate, if you believe that photography is a commodity, And it's just anybody can do it. You're not a photo person. You don't care as much.
That's like Florida real estate. Everybody thinks that they can be a realtor in Florida.
Right.
And it's like it takes away from
people who are actually good at it and
it's
study
so
this
true. And I think, like, to your point, we're not saying that, like, all the photographers at the resorts are bad. It's the fact that you're working with a big company. And it's kind of like, we're not going to put down any company, but, like, we're a small business and you want to pick. You want to be able to say, I connect with you. I want you.
Right.
And that's why the photographers do consults, too. They want to make sure you have a relationship.
Right.
For years when I was photographing local weddings, literally, I would drive and I'd do consults in person because I want to connect with the couple. I want to find out, what type of style they like, because my photography style was not for everyone.
Right.
And a lot of times it was my style matched what the bride wanted, did not match what mom wanted, and mom was paying.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of that. And so, like, I don't love you, moms, but you're not my client.
No.
my job as a photographer.
I don't care who's writing the check.
Right. My job as a photographer is to make the bride and groom happy.
Right.
Because let's face it, and even if we look at long-term business-wise, the bride's going to be referring me to her friends.
Yeah, true.
Her friends are going to be the ones getting married. Mom, you don't have friends getting married anymore. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, she might.
You know what I mean, though? In the travel industry, we contract with the couple, regardless if mom and dad are paying for things.
Okay.
The couple contracts, because the couple is the ultimate customer, not the parents.
Right.
They're the ones getting married.
When you work with an individual photographer and you can see their style ahead of time, it just really answers a lot of questions of what you're getting.
You do.
You know what to expect. And that takes a lot of maybe anxiety away from, going with the resort photographer who may be very experienced, who may not be, who may shoot this one particular style or not. And so I think for me, I didn't have a destination wedding, but if I had, I would want to know what I was getting beforehand and just have an idea of what to expect.
And a lot of the photography companies in resort have a old school mentality where they really you pay for coverage,
right?
And then you also
pay for the
make
photos.
Money after the fact because, well, if you want this package, you want that. Now you want to buy these prints. You want the higher res files. It's everything's extra. Everything's extra.
Right.
And I had it more of the all inclusive mentality of you pay me. You'll get what you know, you'll get everything,
Right.
So what goes into a photography choice, editing style, personality, it can be awkward, right? Like it
can be.
Having a random stranger guy, in my case, a guy, obviously there's ladies photographers as well, but like having a random stranger,
right,
especially if it's of the opposite sex,
is so
come
weird.
in on wedding day, a stressful day in your life anyway, come in on wedding day, to a room where bridesmaids are half dressed, everything's thrown everywhere, like it's chaos a lot of times.
Oh man.
Having the wrong personality come into that,
absolutely,
that can add stress.
It does, because I didn't feel close with mine at all, and like now, of course, our tarot is like amazing, but like I was like, oh my gosh, I went cheap. I definitely went cheap the first time around.
Right.
Thank God I did. But like another thing I feel like with the bigger companies is they're more about the posing, like versus, for me, it's all about like the candid shots. And you have to have some posing, but like I need somebody to be like, Taylor, like don't do that with your hand or do this with your hand.
Right.
And we got our photos back and it was like, oh, I get why what he asked me to do. Editing is huge. Like the amount of brides that tell me like, right now that like what is it called, like light and airy vibe right now is a big thing. So I was like, you can have an awesome photo, but if you don't know how to edit it, it's gonna be crap.
Right.
It's that personal style. It's all personal preference. It's why it's such a personal choice, and that's why I cannot stand some of the resorts resorts have tried to say, oh no, you can't use outside vendors for photography.
Yeah.
You have to use our photographer. And it's like, no, what are you doing? That's such a personal choice. That is a reason why a bride would go to a different resort.
Real quick, because I want to get to the next question. What would be your advice for the bride that's listening is like, okay, I don't want to do the resort photographer. How do they find the small business owner photographer? How do they find that in Mexico?
You've got to do your research. You've just got to go explore and look at everybody's portfolio, find a style that you like.
But like how? I would say like something
How
like
do you do that
Instagram, if you maybe look up your resort and you know how you ladies do all this stuff, but like you can go and look at like the tagged photos. I've found people
stalking.
Yes. I have found people in like Puerto Vallarta to send brides that I'm like, I found them just by stalking. And then of course the Facebook groups are huge,
right?
And just like looking and seeing what people, if you see a style you like, find out what photographer they used. Okay, keep going.
And we've got a list of like recommended photographers in the majority of our Facebook groups as well, our Resort Weddings Facebook Facebook groups that we operate. So that those can be useful. Just seeing the resort has on, looking at their Instagram tags and and all of that, the location tags.
So definitely relying on your travel agent to help point you in the right direction. Yeah. Because like for that bride who's like, okay, I don't want the resort photographer, but I don't really know what to do.
Where to start?
Then I guess going with the resort photographer might just be easy because it's already like kind of laid out for me. Like we want to make it as easy as possible. So rely on your travel agent, rely on the Facebook groups, reach out to other brides and grooms who have done the same thing. And
if you can go check out the resort beforehand, and you can do a site inspection of the resort, check out the resort, make sure we meet with the wedding department there, but also take a day during that trip to go do an engagement session. If you find a photographer and you're interested in what they're doing, please ask them to see a whole wedding.
Okay.
Because anything we're posting on Instagram is just what we want you to see.
The best
anything
stuff.
we're putting on our website is just what we want you to see. It's really helpful to see an entire wedding that a photographer shot, because you're seeing everything a client actually got.
Exactly.
And a lot of times, the trendy thing in this world of creators that we live in, photographers will they call them stylized shoots. I hate stylized shoots. Like, there's nothing more that annoys the crud out of me, because it's basically so freaking fake.
So what is a stylized shoot?
A stylized shoot is literally where we're going to, I'm going to work with a wedding designer, and wedding designer.
This is all fake.
This is all fake.
Yeah.
It is literally not like, they may be models, that are just coming into this. We're going to set up this beautiful scene, and they just basically create a tablescape, create a wedding, create a fake scene to say, hey, we're doing a stylized shoot. They just do a photo shoot with a couple.
Which is so easy to do when you're able to like take your time.
Yes. Wedding days don't operate that way. Wedding days are stressful. Wedding days for a photographer are...
So then it's false reality.
Yes.
It's false advertising.
Oh,
because,
like social media?
Because you can control... Exactly. Because during a wedding, an actual wedding day, you cannot control anything. There's virtually no aspect you can control, from the weather, the people, the timing,
and the
sunset,
time crunch.
all that kind of stuff.
From a photographer standpoint,
you just have to go.
Yeah.
And then when you have the stylized shoot and you see these beautiful photos, what you don't realize is that, they had 6 hours to do it.
Right.
And, it was just, this is not your typical wedding day.
Yeah.
So that's not really fair. And then you expect to get that sort of product at the end. And when you don't,
You're like, wait a
upset.
second.
Yeah, you feel like, you've been cheated.
Can you just ask a photographer for a whole wedding, like
I
to
would,
see?
Absolutely. I mean, I have
Just like a gallery
we had
or like
clients'
online
photos up all
gallery.
the time, and the website's up all the time. So I just said, here, go check out this link, and here's weddings I shot. But it's false advertising in a bit, and I just think it's not true. And from a photographer standpoint, it is crunch time on wedding day.
Right.
If the couple's not doing the first look, and they're getting all those photos in between the end of the ceremony and before the reception during cocktail hour, which a lot of our couples, I want to be part of cocktail hour. Okay, so now I have even less time to get these photos,
I have 7
right?
minutes.
I've got to get all the wedding party photos. I've got to get all the family photos, and I've got to get bride and groom photos.
Yeah.
Well, bride and groom photos is where I want to spend most of my time, and that's where most weddings photographers want to spend most of their time on the bride and groom photos. They can be more artistic, and and you can take a couple around the resort and walk around and get all this great stuff. But they take time.
And it's called doing a first look.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have now realized, women out there, you all need to stop being so ignorant, being like, well, I just want to see what their look is when I walk down the aisle. Like, you're going to get that with a first look. Like, and people are so in their head about it. But if photos matter to you, do the first look. If it doesn't, then keep with your little ignorant mindset. Like, and I'm like, you don't even see it. I've been there. You don't see it. You don't see, and then guess what? You get one photo of it after, like, and it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, it's like kind of pointless. It's like, okay, cool. So everybody's watching the groom, but like he's still gonna feel some type of way seeing you walk down the aisle with the music going and all that.
Right.
But you get his reaction, but even in a more, because for the man, if you really think about it, when you have all of those people around, he might not even be able to show his real reaction.
Right.
Like,
he just might be so nervous.
Exactly. Like, there's so much going on, and there's like nothing more special than getting to like have that moment together.
And as a photographer, I think it was a more intimate setting to do a
10 times
first
more
look,
intimate.
just a bride and groom. And I honestly, I would always shoot those with a long lens. I can be a little less intrusive as a photographer than video. So video
has to be up there.
Has to be a little bit more up there and in your face. And so it was always annoying to me as a photographer when we were doing a first look, and I had a couple that I want to leave them alone in this moment. I want them to really not see me, not have a photographer, like, not be like, what's he doing,
Yeah.
I really want this moment to be about them and me to be as far away as possible and still get the right shots, right?
You better get the right shot.
But the video would be like
Reaction.
right up in their face, and
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, you're killing this moment. Like, you got to respect that. So it's always this line, like as a photographer that shoots a more photojournalistic style, it's always this line of like, where can I be? Where can I position myself? How can I get these shots without
Being up in
intruding?
their grill.
Okay, so our next question, I'm going to read directly because I really like how you wrote it. Taylor,
Yes.
biggest regret from your destination wedding besides the obvious choice of the groom?
Oh my God. Okay. If it was the correct groom, my biggest regret was not doing a first look. So let me explain what happened.
you didn't do it?
No. And that's why I'm allowed to be passionate.
Yeah, because I was like, I was going to say.
Do we need an explanation here? Because some
Of
viewers
what
may
first look
not
is?
know what a first
That I
look
got a
is.
divorce? Oh.
No. No, that's we reference that every episode. No,
Thanks a
I
lot.
think just to have a reference of what a first look is, because
Do
Yeah.
people not know?
not all brides know. No, a lot of my couples didn't know. When I was meeting with people as a photographer, they wouldn't know what a
Because
first
it didn't
look
used to be a
is.
thing, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think it
I don't
did.
think it was a thing when
Maybe
you
I'm
first
referencing
started
how old I am
shooting,
then.
but no, it became a thing.
No, it just, I would say even just over the last, 10 years maybe?
Yeah.
So if you don't know, a first look is basically where the bride and groom will decide to see each other for the first time before their actual ceremony. It's usually something that's private, just the two of them, although sometimes people will actually bring their whole wedding party to watch. I'm not a fan of that
No.
personally.
No.
But that's what a first look is, hey, on wedding day, I'm going to get ready extra early. And that way I can go see my bride, see my groom beforehand, just a moment, just the two of them. The photographer will be there to capture it. And it allows you to have a little bit more personal moment before the actual wedding and kind of relieve some of that stress of having that moment in front of all your friends and family.
Okay, good job.
Yes.
So this is what I'm passionate about because I didn't do it and now I'm going to do it and I get to see the difference, right? So my 2019 wedding, we had this bad, am I allowed to say ass? Badass?
Yeah.
This is our podcast, so we can say whatever we want. There's no FCC
Okay.
requirement.
So we had a badass rooftop, and the coolest thing about it was going to be the views up there, right? So cocktail hour was so cool. I'm not saying you have to be at cocktail hour because if you do need to get more photos, but we both don't like the photos. It was stressful. I literally had a headache. I was like, I don't enjoy this at all. So we're rushing. We're we just want to go to cocktail hour. We had live music from our friends that were so good. Shout out to John Kay and Brian Malpus. And so it was so frustrating because by the time we got up there, it was dark. Okay. I will tell you, what were you going to say?
So you missed
Yes.
everything,
Everything.
sunset and all that.
of it. Yes. And again, it's not because I necessarily need to be up there for cocktail hour, but also now I've been telling my brides that if you're getting married around that time of year, which was November in Riviera Maya, I was I would personally do your ceremony earlier if you want to be able to capture the good lighting. I watched those videos and pictures from cocktail hour and I was disturbed that I missed it. It was beautiful. So beautiful. And so even when I thought that the marriage thing was going to be cool, I remember getting them back and being I probably liked 2 of those photos that I wasted an hour of because it was not enjoyable. I was stressed because it was a time crunch,
It's interesting you say about how the timing didn't work out for because you got up there and it was dark.
Yes,
and
pitch
that's
dark.
one of the things when I have conversations with a couple about and they're like, oh, what time should I do? Obviously, if we have if the resort says, oh, you can get married at this time or this time,
you don't have
then
choice.
we're
right.
limited. But if we have choice or let's really dive into this before you pick a time.
Yeah.
Because as a photographer, my goal was always that we were doing the first dance as that sun, that golden hour, right? That sun's kind of setting. We're doing that first dance. And so, and then once people are seated, then, okay, they're eating, it's getting dark. That's
Who cares
fine.
at that point?
Then
That's
it's reception
perfect
afterwards. So
timing.
that is the perfect timing. But yeah, it's a shame it didn't work
I'm
out that way.
excited to see, so you're getting married in May.
Yes.
And we're going to be there.
Yes, you are.
I'm excited to see, so you're going to do the first look then, and I'm
Yes.
excited to have you back on after this, and
Yeah.
you can say, yeah, that was perfect, or actually, maybe it was. So it'll be
Right.
cool, so you've seen both ends of the spectrum.
Yes, that's
So
so true.
we
Because
can
then I
have
can be
that.
my passion about the way I feel about this
Yes.
does make sense because now I've actually
Yeah.
experienced it. But and another thing I will say is I've never heard, when you talk about being my biggest regret, I've never heard a woman say she regretted having a first look. You only hear me say, I regretted not doing a first look.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
One factor I think also can play a role into the couple's decision about whether or not to do a first look or not, though, is the pressure from more traditional family members, aka grandparents, parents, etc. Well, you can't see each other before you walk down the aisle.
Oh yeah, my
this
mom
is
would have
tradition.
been very
this,
against
this
that.
is what you do, and so they give into it, and even though they
Throw
don't
it
even
out.
consider it because well, mom will be upset, and it's just like stop. It is your wedding, especially our clients. You're doing a destination wedding. You're already doing something untraditional.
Yes.
Right.
Let's not be bound by those. You have to do this. You have to do that.
Throw traditions out. Out the door.
Make your
please.
own tradition.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with like certain traditions that you want to do because you like them,
Like
right?
I do, like for me, the
The
cake.
cake,
Yeah.
exactly, because you actually like. You're
Pick
not
and
doing
choose.
it because society tells you to do that because
Right.
that's what they've always done.
Right.
It's like you're doing it because you like
Yeah.
it. So
Just pick and choose.
yeah.
All right, that's all the time we have. I want to thank all three of you for joining us today for another episode of the Be All Inclusive podcast. As a reminder, you can find us at Vibe Thrive Travel, Taylor Martz, and James Bergley at Be All Inclusive. You can also find the podcast in its entirety on YouTube. Is that correct?
YouTube, what are the
Spotify.
other ones? You're going to have to help me here.
Spotify,
yeah,
Apple
all of the
Music.
appropriate podcast places.
Yes.
That's where you can find it.
Yes.
And what's it called?
It's called the Be All Inclusive podcast. We stopped. It was Wedding Wednesday at 1, but
Okay.
now we're going to discuss all kinds of things here.
Right.
Yes. And so if you have a question you would like to have answered, please feel free to message us. Probably Instagram would be the best to DM us at Be All Inclusive or Vibe Thrive Travel. And hopefully we will answer one of your questions next time. Thanks.
Bye.